Hey guys, Zane from the Infinite Jukebox here with another album review, and today I wanted to talk about the new Bill Calahan record, Reality. Reality is the latest studio album from the singer-slash-songwriter Bill Calahan, an individual who has definitely been a favorite of the underground and alternative scene more than anything, with really him getting no sincere taste of mainstream recognition. The closest that he has ever come to any sort of massive recognition is his last studio album, an underwhelming collaboration with the iconic singer-songwriter himself, Bonnie Prince Billy, and now Bill Calahan is back with more of his trademark sound, more of his trademark lyrics, trademark vocal style, and trademark, well, weirdness overall. I mean, this album's title is literally mirrored of itself. It is just a strange yet still soothing listening experience that is pretty much everything we've come to expect from Bill Calahan, both the positives and the negatives. The songwriting here is, again, much more of what many people have come to expect from Bill Calahan at this point, that, of course, being this dreamlike sort of surrealism that has defined the vast majority of his career, and really, this record is no different as far as lyrical content goes. I mean, whether he's talking about warming your hands in the dead body of a horse, to seeing souls that are naked somehow, pretty much everything here feels like some sort of bad hallucinatory trip, but in a good way. You could definitely argue that there are a couple moments here or there where Callahan is more minimalistic in the lyrical department than he has been in quite some time. After all, he is kind of known as a sort of Salvador Dali of singer-songwriter types with his very over-the-top, grand surrealism, but here he kind of dials it back a little bit for something that I will mention in a moment, the overall atmosphere and tone of the record, but I think it still works out overall, and at its heart, this is still a Bill Calahan record, and in turn, Reality is a listen that is very important for any singer-songwriter fans out there in the year of 2022, because he continues to define himself with a unique lyrical style that, while never really changing up too much, still manages to be interesting with each following release. The vocal style here is casual and laid back as usual as well. Bill Calahan is sort of known for not really ever bothering to try and belt it out or anything like that, outside of a couple moments here or there where he feels extremely impassioned, and Reality is just him at his most chill, lethargic, whatever word you would like to use. But that isn't necessarily a bad thing, either. I mean, this is something that Callahan has been a part of for years, this slacker songwriter type of vibe that this record encapsulates, and the warm crispness of the production here manages to complement that aspect of his sound and his performance style very well overall. Now, that aforementioned warm crispness that comes from the production is very important towards Reality and is ultimately what makes it stand out from the rest of his still fantastic discography, but this record in particular, Reality, is very nostalgic in a strange manner. The warmth of it kind of feels like you're out on a lake fishing while the sun sets and you can kind of hear the bugs start chirping and it's just you by yourself. There's something just comforting and yet slightly eerie, but primarily comforting about this album that really does kind of capture this feeling of welcome and even important isolation from the rest of the world, and that is something that you could say has been a part of Bill Callahan's music for forever now, but really the warmth of the production here does just kind of take that to a new level that we haven't really seen on prior releases from Callahan in exchange for extra doses of dreamy surrealism or a variety of other factors that aren't found on Reality. Again, there are a number of repeating factors here from previous Bill Calahan albums, and the biggest flaw here is one that has been plaguing his career for years now, and that is overly long, unnecessarily long lengths. This is an album that is over an hour long, and that's just not necessary. The last 20 or so minutes of this album don't really need to be tacked onto it whatsoever, and that's not to say that it ever really falls apart or anything like that. This is a remarkably consistent album, and while it does kind of feel at first listen that it's kind of front-loaded just because you aren't tired of the album when you're listening to the front half of it, if you pick apart this record song by song, this is actually a very strong listen overall with not a single less than stellar track on it. The problem is that it all just kind of feels a bit drawn out, going on for over an hour. It doesn't feel necessary or required for the album to succeed in what it wants to do, and it does end up feeling just a tad drawn out overall. So overall, Reality is another great album from Bill Calahan, one of the most interesting singer-songwriter types out there at the moment, and although a bit of an overdone length does hold it back a little bit from being truly excellent, there are still all of these same factors that have made his work great for years, active and at play on this record. So, I'm going to give Reality 4 stars out of 5. And with that being said, that is the end of this album review. I have been Zane from the Infinite Jukebox. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.